What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. Today we're going to go over our first god roll guide for these brave weapons with the Hammerhead, one of the best, if not the goatiest of our LMGs that we've ever had, is back out with some interesting combinations of rolls in that third and fourth column. So we're going to cover everything for PvP, PvE. There's definitely way more options on the PvE side in my opinion, but we are going to cover it all for you right here. Now, of course, to unlock this, you got to go through that little quest that we get inside of the Hall of Heroes, where we got to get some defeats with LMGs, whether it be in Onslaught, we get just some extra progress, or in raids, dungeons, whatever you are going into. But complete that, and then you will be able to attune at the Shaxx Tower for this Hammerhead, which gives you a better chance for getting those shiny rolls and just the Hammerhead in general. As for its origin trait, Indomitability right here. Final blows grant grenade energy when player of the light subclass, or melee energy when they are playing the darkness subclass. So this is going to come in super handy inside that final shape, because we're going to get the prismatic subclass, which is a little mixture of everything. So it's going to be a interesting origin trait for a lot of these weapons that are going to be super good inside the final shape. So starting us off in the PvP side of things, for our weapon mod, I'm going to go with that counterbalance stock. Gives us a recoil direction of plus 15, which gives it at a 90. So this thing is going to bounce pretty straight up and down. We're going to go with the range masterwork on this as well. Just gives us that 85 in range. We have 70 on stability, how we have this built out for the Crucible. So it is a laser beam, and you are going to be getting those defeats very quickly. In the first column, got two different options for you. First off is this Hammer Forge with plus 10 range. Definitely stacks it out for as far as you can possibly get with this weapon, in my personal opinion. The other option is Small Bore. Gives you a little bit more stability with that plus 7 in stability as well. So you get a good little balance of both of these. So it's up to you if you're having a hard time shooting it inside of the Crucible. For the second column, we got ricochet rounds. We are always going with this basically inside of the Crucible if it is an option. Armor piercing could work as well, but ricochet is the goated perk in this second column for magazines. In the third column right here, we got an interesting rampage perk, which is a damage perk, which is usually in the fourth column, not here in our third column. So this right here makes this Hammerhead super interesting alone, but this is going to be our first option for the Crucible. You can get some crazy chaining of defeats in a row with this thing when you get this perk to proc, plus the couple that we have in the fourth column. The other option that I think you could go with, if you get a roll with it, over deals bonus damage to targets with overshield. You can see it's a 20% overshield for PvP combatants, so those guardians are going to get their shield absolutely depleted very quickly, but that's kind of already happening anyway. With a heavy would help a little bit inside of a super maybe, but I would go with rampage first, then over. Now in the fourth column, I would go with two different options, maybe a third, depending on how much magazine you have. First off is killing tally. When we have this paired with rampage, you get those defeats that damage stacks up on each other, and you are just able to annihilate guardians in only a couple bullets. Yes, this thing is already going to be destroying guardians because it is a heavy, but let me tell you, when you get this thing going with both of those perks on it, it absolutely eats guardians. The next option we have right here is high impact reserve. Since we're not picking up a bunch of ammo consistently, the rounds at the end of the magazine will deal more damage, so we gradually ramp up that damage starting at 50% of the magazine. So when it's already low, this has 60 in the mag already, so depending on how many we get picked up how many times, this will be a very good trait as well. Now the last option is Onslaught. Definitely more on the SMG auto rifle side for me, but final blows with this weapon increase its rate of fire. So you have a rampage with this, you can blow through guardians just like you could with killing tally. I love Onslaught, and this thing shoots very fast, but with the little bit of ammo that you have in the Crucible, I think killing tally high impact is a little bit better, because that fast fire rate is going to eat all of the ammo in your magazine, but you are going to get hopefully a couple defeats depending on how close those enemies are together. Now when we move on to our PvE side of things, we're going to spec this out for boss spec right here, doing that nice damage against those hard yellow bar bosses. We're going to go with the reload speed as well for this bad boy, just because we want to put as much ammo downrange as we can with this thing, especially with some of the combinations that we have in that third and fourth column. Now into the barrels, we got two different options again. First off, we got the corkscrew right here, jack of all trades, with +5 to stability, range, and handling, giving us about 65 in the range and stability with 55 in that handling. The second option is small bore right here with stability and range, giving us +7 for both of those, range and stability at 67 with handling at 50. So I think I like corkscrew a little bit more. Second column right here, I definitely think I would go with appended mag. Gives us that increase to magazine size. Very good addition instead of something like extended mag, because the extended mag will tank your reload speed, so I love to go with appended. Second option is those armor piercing rounds. They cause extra damage to combatant shield and over penetrate. We get that +5 to range, and you can see 5% damage increased against those combatant shields, so it's nice to have that inside of the PvE side of the game. All right, we got 3 different options in our third column. Rampage is my first one. You can see it gives us that nice damage boost when we get those kills with this weapon, stacking up to 33%. Now the interesting thing is this is usually in our fourth column, like I said, so it is nice that we can have a damage perk in both the third and the fourth column with this weapon. Second on the list is the curated roll with 4 times the charm. Rapidly landing those precision hits will return 2 to the magazine, so it is a good way to just do a lot of DPS at once. Intrinsically, the faster shooting, those nice fast firing LMGs that are the 900 RPMs are just better at damage in general, but this thing does hit pretty hard, and with 4 times the charm, you can just sit there and hold this on a boss for quite some time. Last for me inside of the rewind rounds is when this weapon's magazine is empty, it refills from the reserves based on the number of hits. So similar to 4th times the charm, instead of getting it periodically, you get it after the clip is empty. So if you hit the whole clip, you get a nice chunk of that back, and it just keeps firing until you run out of ammo completely. But it is a nice third addition to this. I think, in my opinion, I really like the Rampage side of things to start us out, but 4th time rewind, very good options as well. Finally, 4th column, we got Surrounded. I think this is going to be a slept on perk. If we can get this to proc with Rampage on the top of it, even 4th times the charm for the extended DPS, this thing is going to absolutely eat in the DPS side of things, because we get that 30% increase in damage immediately without having to get defeats or anything like that, like target lock. We gotta hit shots. This will just immediately give it to us. Second option also comes from that curated roll, which is the killing tally. Kills with this weapon damage increase until it is stowed. We gain 10% up to 3 times, so this gives us a 30% increase to damage. Pairing that with Rampage, we get about a 65% damage increase, so it is a wild combo in my combination. I think that is probably what I'll go with overall. If I can get a surrounded on one as well, that would be ideal, but Rampage with killing tally, definitely going to be my go-to. Last but certainly not least, right here we got our target lock. Damage increases the longer this remains on the target, so another way that we can get some nice DPS on this, especially if we have something like rewind rounds or 4th times the charm. It'll just pair perfectly together with giving us ammo back, and the longer we stay on that target with shooting it, the higher our damage goes. So it is a good perk as well on this LMG, but I do like surrounded and killing tally a little bit better, especially if we can get one with Rampage. Killing tally is going to be absolutely disgusting for that damage and just wiping out ads. So overall for this thing, definitely takes us back to the nostalgia. Some interesting rolls on this bad boy, 100%, especially with that Indomitable origin trait on it. I am gonna definitely be grinding this very hard this week, trying to get us some very good shinies, but I would give it overall probably a 3.8 for inside of the Crucible, and then a 4.5 out of 5 inside of the PvE realm. Very good, like I said, for a bunch of different things inside of the PvE realm. Totally up to you what you are going on. Throw volatility on this, it's gonna do even better than it was before. So I appreciate all you guys for coming back to the channel. Slap at that bell if you have not. It helps out the channel a bunch. Hit that like and subscribe button as well, helps me out a bunch, and you guys won't miss out on any of the content we post here on the channel. So thank you guys again, I truly appreciate y'all. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.